Welcome to the Real Comic Heroes podcast. Your adventure into the world of comic book movies starts here.
Greetings, citizens, and welcome to another adventure of Real Comic Heroes. And I don't know why I'm going up with my voice.
But right, because we were just watching Dick Tracy, and they had a fun radio announcer.
That's right.
But yeah, back for a special episode.
Hell yeah. Talk about some comic book characters like we've done before. We're again going from the IGN top 100 comic book heroes, and we're going to pull up the Computor 3000 to find us a random number, and then, which looks like we have number 82.
Oh, jeez.
So, let's see who 82 is. Last time we had Beast at number 58, and Wasp at 99, and Professor X at 22. So, let's see who is number 82.
We're in Wasp territory.
Oh, here we go. Okay, so the Eric O'Grady version of Ant-Man. And go, Patrick. Tell me everything you know about Eric O'Grady's Ant-Man.
He likes potatoes?
Tighty.
That's what I'm picturing right now.
Would you like me to tell you about Eric O'Grady?
Please do. I know he can shrink.
Yeah.
Talk to ants. I don't know. Jeez.
That's funny. I'm honestly, I'm shocked that Eric O'Grady makes this top 100 list, but he's kind of a fun character. I think they kind of blended the Paul Rudd, Scott Lang Ant-Man with Eric O'Grady, because Eric O'Grady was like he was a criminal, and he stole the Ant-Man suit. And he's not always a hero. Like, he sometimes uses it for like mercenary stuff, or he'll be a hired robber or whatever, but he uses the Ant-Man suit for kind of his own gains most of the time. His actual comic book is called The Irredeemable Ant-Man. So it's kind of like he's just a goofy bad guy, good guy kind of character. So,
is it like Deadpool?
Kind of. Not as... No, I think that he's the Deadpool of Ant-Man, for sure.
Yeah.
Obviously not like powers or any of that stuff, but yeah, just kind of the lovable asshole, I think. I've seen him on both sides. I've seen him in recent Spider-Man comics where he's just flat out trying to defeat Spider-Man or steal stuff, and but I've seen him also be used kind of on a team of heroes, but it's generally like he's in it for himself.
I think you stumbled upon a better title for that comic book.
What's that?
The Lovable Asshole.
Yeah, there you go.
Ant-Man, the Lovable Asshole.
Yeah. I'm shocked that this version of Ant-Man made the list, so I don't have a lot to say about Eric O'Grady.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking we were just sticking to the superhero thing, not necessarily the versions.
No, yeah. Only because it says like his name specifically. Like,
yeah.
I could see just throwing Ant-Man into this list, and number 82 seems perfectly fine to me too. Like, I'd probably put him down at number 100 if I like Wasp more than I like Ant-Man, but I'm assuming that Hank Pym and Scott Lang, if they're both on the list, they'll be higher than Eric O'Grady. But no, I'm genuinely surprised to see him on this list of top 100. So,
all right. Do we even want to talk of Ant-Man in general?
We can. That's totally fine.
Because I think it's probably one of the most underrated characters in the movies.
Sure.
Just because of his adaptability and, the whole He's basically the reason they can do what they do at the last movie.
That's true. Yeah, and Endgame. Yeah, it wouldn't have worked without him showing up. Yeah.
I was trying to say that as generic as possible.
Oh, sure.
But
yeah,
he's also like, I mean, you can get subatomic and gigantic.
Yeah.
That's a pretty insane power.
I've been reading
for just an ordinary dude.
Yeah, I've been reading a lot of the original, the old Avengers stories, and they kind of like once they decided to make him Giant Man, it's like they completely forgot about him being able to go back to being Ant-Man. It's like for no good reason he will just like Hank Pym will just be in the lab or in the Avengers meeting room as like full on giant size. Like, come on, dude. You don't need to be giant to be, sitting around talking about, what your plans are and stuff. So it's like once they discovered, we can make this guy Giant Man, like that was it for a while.
Because basically he's just a distraction when he's Giant Man.
Kinda, yeah. Because he's not as strong as Thor or Hulk for sure. But I've never loved Ant-Man. I like the movie a lot. Paul Rudd's version of Scott Lang is a really fun character. So I'm glad the way they did it in the movies, where you have Michael Douglas as Hank Pym, and he's just kind of a background character. I mean, he's the mentor figure, that sort of thing. So I'm glad the way they kept Hank Pym as someone who had been around for a long time. I think that really works well.
Mm-hmm. But I just think the power is cool. Like
sure. Oh yeah.
Be able to change your size at will.
And I don't know if Eric O'Grady, I don't know if his version of Ant-Man does the Giant Man stuff. I don't know if they've done him as Giant Man. I've not read enough of any Ant-Man version really to have strong opinions. I know Ant-Man, Hank Pym, he's a character that will go on and become, Yellow Jacket and Goliath and Giant Man, and he'll actually take up the name Wasp at a certain point. And then, like, I think in the 70s, maybe 80s, he there's a storyline with him just being real abusive towards Janet.
Jeez.
To the point where it's like, he hits her, and then the character becomes, ironically, then becomes irredeemable. And I've read that the creators never intended to make him like an abusive husband. It was just like a miscommunication between the writer and the artist or something. And so what got drawn was him smacking her, but that was not what the writer wanted to happen or something. Like in defense of him being an abusive husband, it was like they didn't mean to do that almost.
So is it supposed to be like a thought he was having, and
I don't
necessarily
know. I'd have to read it again, but
okay. Because how do you accidentally draw?
Yeah,
beating your wife.
Yeah, and I know that the Ultimate line of Marvel, like in the 2000s, they went ahead and showed Ant-Man as being the abusive husband at a certain point. So, yeah. So Ant-Man, just in general, has never been in the comics has never been a character I've really cared for that much. But he works really well in the movies. So. I'm not even going to bother suggesting that we cast, fan cast Eric O'Grady because he's of Irish descent and I think he has red hair. Like, that's all I know about him visually.
Conan O'Brien.
There you go. Done. That probably would actually work because he is a very funny character in the few things that I've read. Yeah. Like, he has a good sense of humor because he is kind of that Deadpool-esque.
That's the only thing I can think of. So there we go. Done.
There you go. Done. You want to do another one?
Bring it. Can't be any worse than Eric O'Grady version of Ant-Man.
Somehow they're still 18 lower than him.
That's weird.
That included Wasp, which makes no sense to me.
Well, I'm waiting for Robin's college roommate or something now.
Yeah. Okay, next up we have number 73, and that will be... another winner. Jonah Hex from DC... the cowboy hero with like kind of half of his face is all burnt up,
Yeah, I remember the movie coming out, but I never saw it. So it looked really bad.
Yeah, it's not great. I think Josh Brolin worked really well as Jonah Hex. Like, I think he played it perfectly. It just was in this movie that was just not great. You know, I've seen it once, so I can't really talk too much about the movie.
So is he like a chemically created superhero, or
no? He's legitimately like a cowboy from the 1800s. It says horrifically scarred cowboy is a former Confederate soldier turned expert bounty hunter. I think he's scarred by fire. I mean, I don't think it's like anything supernatural or anything.
So he's just a bounty hunter.
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
So what I know about Jonah Hex is the little bit that I've I don't even know that I've read that much. They use him really effectively in an episode of Batman the Animated Series.
Okay.
Where
I think I remember that.
It's like a blast from the past kind of episode with Ra's al Ghul, and he interacts with Jonah Hex like back in the day, but man,
so he's like a Batman for the Old West.
Kind of, I guess so. I think they probably play up the he's probably more Punisher or Ghost Rider than Batman. Like, I think he's more like not afraid to kill anybody if it goes that way. I'd probably liken him more to, like I said, Punisher, like a Ghost Rider, I would think.
What's
as far
name?
As like Marvel, but
there's a space bounty hunter, Lobo.
Yeah.
Is it kind of like that, or he's just
I think
out
so
for the money?
Maybe, yeah. I'm just guessing. I don't have enough experience with Jonah Hex to, but he goes back to March of 1972.
Does he have a special weapon or anything?
I don't think so. Like, you'd think, like, maybe he has I'm thinking
better
of that
gun.
like a demon possessed gun or something. What was that? Winona Earp? Was that did you?
Oh, yeah.
Like, she had like a demon possessed gun or something. Something like that. But I could see mixing in the supernatural with him, and that might just be because you could swap him with like a Ghost Rider. I think like he would work well as like Ghost Rider of the 1800s.
So he just seems like if you want to have time travel, here's your guy.
I guess so. Yeah, I don't know how.
Because he's not going to really work with anyone else other than time travel.
Yeah. And I'm sure there have been stories where he comes forward in time and, interacts with modern DC heroes, I'm sure. But I'm sure he was big in the 70s.
I'm surprised he's up that high.
Yeah, 73, yeah. There must be some really good Jonah Hex stories. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Definitely, if you're listening, excuse me, if you're listening and you have more input on Jonah Hex, please feel free to weigh in on the Facebook group.
Stunt casting. I'm going to put Jonah Hill in.
Yeah.
No. I'll go time machine on us and say Clint Eastwood.
Ooh,
Dirty Harry style.
That's a perfect, yeah. I really like the Josh Brolin, but if I've got to cast somebody, and we're taking this out of time, I'd like to see a Kevin Costner 80s cowboy movie with him. Yeah,
that'd be interesting. It'd be like a gruff version of Dances with Wolves.
I was thinking Waterworld because it's kind of that same lone wolf type story.
Okay. Yeah, I just got trapped in the whole time period, so
yeah.
I think that was Civil War era. Dances with Wolves.
Yeah.
He's like, or maybe it's before. I think he's like in the cavalry or something like that.
I think it's. I think you're right on. I think it's. Well, no, because he is kind of more out west. Not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, either way.
Yeah.
Or I'm sure the character's somewhat based on John Wayne.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's more the like you said,
Dirty Harry.
Clint Eastwood, more the Man with No Name, the Outlaw Josie Wales, that sort of all the spaghetti westerns that were big.
But yeah, Brolin would have been the best you could have chosen for this.
Yeah,
current day.
Yeah, it's on our list, so we'll get to it eventually. But I'd be curious to rewatch Jonah Hex, and like again, I don't think he's the problem with that movie.
Megan Fox.
Megan Fox, and I think if I remember right, it's Malkovich is the bad guy, and he's like,
oh god,
yeah, I think he's hamming it up pretty big time.
He's fallen into that Pacino walk-in territory.
Yeah, in a movie that doesn't support that type of character, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's all I got on Jonah Hex.
Wow, we're getting the good ones out of the way.
Yeah. Go
one more. We got to get a good one. I actually know.
Okay. Let's see. Jeez, sticking up in these high numbers. Got 89.
Oh God.
Oh, please be a good one.
Yeah,
it's gonna be a good one that we're shocked is so far low.
I don't know.
Oh God damn it! Moon Knight.
What the fuck? I've never even heard of that. Okay, I'm gonna guess who he is.
Okay, please.
He is a astronaut that was trapped on the moon and discovered aliens invading, and it was his job as the Moon Knight to protect the Earth.
Are you reading his Wikipedia article?
Please tell me that's it.
No, not even close.
Oh man. Moon Knight.
Moon Knight. So Moon Knight is a Marvel character, and he's from his first appearance was Werewolf by Night, number 32 in August of 1975, and the description of Moon Knight that I have always heard is he's Marvel's version of Batman. So he has he's all dressed in white. He has a big moon, like a crescent moon on his chest. Big cloak. And yeah, it's everyone always just compares him to Batman. And even this article for IGN says, "What if Batman suffered from multiple personality disorder?" And that's more or less the concept behind this dark vigilante. Moon Knight alternates between being a millionaire playboy, rough and tumble cab driver, and hardened mercenary, depending what mood strikes him. So he's just kind of, I would consider like a D-list Marvel character. But I know in recent years, they've kind of tried to reinvent Moon Knight a little bit and reuse him a lot. And anytime like you have these big Marvel movie or TV presentations for like Comic-Con or whatever, everyone's always like, give us a Moon Knight movie or TV show. And he's probably a character that kind of would have worked with the Netflix Daredevil era, of TV shows. Like he probably would have worked there. I don't think he's really got any supernatural stuff going on other than just being like Batman, where he works in the shadows. But as far as I know, he's just a guy.
So he's like a Batman with a hint of Legion mental issues.
Yeah, maybe.
Multiple personalities.
Yeah. Man.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Number generator. Do a better job, buddy.
No kidding. This has been just 3 in a row of like.
That is the first one I have come up empty on. Like nothing. Like never heard of it in passing. At least the other ones I've heard of.
And I've only ever read like Moon Knight appearances in like issues of Spider-Man and then some Avengers stuff. I think he popped up in the 2000s. Yeah, it is probably one of those, like, I think he has a big following as far as comic book fans and stuff, but I've just never gotten into him. So I think his name is Mark Spector. If I could be wrong about that, but I think that's his actual name. And just like that, citizens, we've made it to the end of another character review episode. We're cutting it short because Patrick's computer just decided to shut down. And so right after we talked a little bit about Moon Knight, and then his computer decided that it was done. So Moon Knight really is the worst, apparently. So Yeah, we're going to call it there. Be sure to head over to the Real Comic Heroes League of Citizens Facebook group, and please weigh in on your thoughts on Eric O'Grady, Jonah Hex, and Moon Knight. These three characters happen to be, three that we just had very little experience with, other than Ant-Man in general being in the Marvel Cinematic Universe and Jonah Hex being in that one bad movie. And neither of us really had much on Moon Knight, so we would definitely welcome some thoughts from you guys. So please weigh in. While we have you, will you please throw a rating at us over on iTunes? A 5-star rating would be really appreciated. Just positive review would be really helpful. So we will be back next episode. Should be with a movie review. This one, I believe, will be between Dick Tracy and RoboCop 2. So should be coming back in a few weeks with RoboCop 2. So until then, thanks for listening. And for Patrick, I've been Travis. And stay safe out there, citizens.
Thanks for listening to the podcast. Find the show on Facebook and Twitter at Real Comic Heroes. All music and audio are the property of their respective creators.